Hey there, welcome to the Performance Marketing Masterclass slash webinar. My goal is to introduce the word of performance marketing to you and explain how performance marketing can enhance your business, can validate your ideas, when and why using performance marketing is not a good idea, but mostly show you how it can be used in collaboration, let's say, with other sources, organic sources or other paid sources, and how to benefit from everything that the performance marketing can give you. Let's start from a definition of what performance marketing is. I apologize if this is a bit basic, but I see my audience is a bit heterogeneous, it's a bit diverse. So I would love to start from the very basic. We will move fast onto things that are a bit more juicy, a bit more interesting, but let's start with the definition. And the definition is simple. Performance marketing is marketing that can be measured in contrast, in the difference between, for example, print ads or a billboard that you can see on the street. You cannot exactly say how many people of a certain age, of a certain gender, or other things. You cannot say things about your audience. You cannot quantify certain KPIs about your audience with print ads or outdoor ads, billboard ads, but you can do that with performance marketing, especially, of course, with Google Ads. I'm already telling you a bit more about the platform. So Google, Meta, Pinterest, LinkedIn, and so forth. With this platform, you are able to measure things. You're able to see what works, what doesn't, almost in real time, adjust things, and literally explore what your users are doing with your ads, how they're reacting, and so forth. And of course, always improve your funnel, your acquisition, your retargeting, your marketing. We'll talk about these terms in a little bit. So performance marketing, again, is marketing that can be measured and is marketing that is paid, of course. Is not SEO or not organic stuff, is marketing that you pay for. And it's one of the most effective ways to acquire customers, because some other ways might be more expensive in terms of time. But with performance marketing, you pay and immediately you get some traffic. So that's quite the difference. And this is why it's very good when you start to validate, again, some ideas, some product, some project, or to scale a product that already has a market, but you want to go to other markets. You can test if market is good. You can literally put a lot of money into scaling a campaign with performance marketing and get very, very, very good results. A quick word about me. So I currently run a company called Nanos, and we do performance marketing in a very automated fashion. So we created many automations. We have 2 patents. We created a lot of technologies around Meta and Google universes. And we are super happy with what we are delivering. And we help a lot of clients, from very small ones to very, very, very big ones. And before that, I went through a lot of entrepreneurial journeys. I had a marketplace for beauty services in Italy. I actually founded one of the first drone first companies in Europe back in the days. And I worked with pretty much any type of client, from very small ones to automotive clients and so forth. So I think I spent something like 50 millions in my career with paid ads. So I know things are true. And I started doing this 25 years ago. So my first campaign on Google Ads was 25 years ago. So I saw the whole evolution of this world, this universe, and things have changed a lot, definitely changed a lot. Let's go a bit more inside our conversation, our chat, our webinar. And the first thing, before talking about platforms, strategies, and so forth, the first thing that I always tell my clients, my friends, anybody I talk to about performance marketing is actually to look into your business. So you cannot start a campaign on Meta, Google, whatever, if you don't know how your business is going, where it's going and how is performing. So if you have a product and you're not selling for whatever reason, and you say, okay, I start a campaign on Google and Facebook without knowing too much and without having analyzed your business, then you're up for trouble. You will probably lose a lot of money. This is extremely, extremely important. Whenever you approach performance marketing, you need to know where performance marketing will fit in your acquisition strategy or scaling strategy. This is super important. If you don't know, first you need to find out, and then you can decide how much to invest. We can see it here, how much to invest and what you want to achieve. So you need very precise and realistic goals. You cannot say, okay, I will just do a campaign and let's see what happens. No, you need to say, okay, I want to slash my acquisition cost of 20%, for example, or I want to acquire 50 more customers in the next 3 months. If you have a goal, then you can deconstruct this goal and find a strategy to get there. And performance marketing for most of these goals could be a very, very, very good help. But at the same time, you need to be aware that it's not just a universe that on its own. It's something that you can use together with other sources, and actually you should use it. We will talk about this in a moment, where we will analyze the type of client and the customer journey. That, of course, depends on every business, but there's some common features among pretty much every industry. So it's important you know your cost, your revenues, and from there you can calculate how much you can invest in budget, how much you can invest to acquire a single customer. And customers can be different type. We have different type of customers. We have businesses where you sell something one time and that's it. You have recurring revenue, so a customer that buys every month, every week, every year, and so forth. And one concept, very, very nice and important concept, is the lifetime value. Once you acquire a customer, the journey doesn't end, right? A customer is, let's say, an asset you acquire. You spend some money to acquire it, but it's very, very, very important that you sort of get the maximum value out of a customer. Sounds a bit like not very nice to say something like this, because you don't need to sort of squeeze your customer, but in a way you do, because acquiring a customer can be expensive in a way. For some industries can be very, very expensive, but can also be very rewarding. So you need to understand what kind of customers you have and the potential lifetime value of a customer. If you have these values, then you will get also the amount of money you can invest to acquire that customer. Because if you have a high lifetime value for a customer, you can spend more to acquire this customer, because you will be rewarded in weeks, months, years. It can sound a bit counterintuitive, but this is extremely, extremely, extremely important to understand. As we were saying, performance marketing is not a solution for everything, or it's not a solution for things or products or services that don't work, or they are not supposed to work. So you cannot, again, just throw something in Google, throw something at Meta and say, please sell it for me and it will work. No, not at all. First, because you need to follow this process, you need to have a structured process to make sure you are doing the right thing. And second, because if something is not supposed to work, it won't work. So performance marketing can be very good at validation. So you can validate a product with performance marketing. You can launch a Google Ads campaign, see if users are actively looking for certain keywords that are related to your product. Same for a Facebook ad. You can see if customers are clicking, customers are interacting with your landing page, and so forth. Performance marketing can scale a business a lot. So if things are already working, but your market is limited because you're doing cold emailing, or you have people literally going door to door, calling customers, you can scale leveraging the huge audiences that Google and Facebook and other platforms have. And of course, scale your revenue, scale your sales, and so forth, your customer base. And the third concept, we mentioned this already, performance marketing can complement other activities, can complement your offline activities, and should complement your offline activities. And if we sort of reverse this, your offline activities should be complemented by performance marketing. So when a customer visits your shop, or when you get a way to contact to get in touch with your customer, you can use performance marketing then to sort of always be close to this customer and provide content, provide value, provide offers, and so forth. We will briefly see this. Talking about multiple platforms, multiple ways to reach your customer, you need to think about the fact that Google and others define this like the messy middle. We went for years with the concept of a funnel. So you acquire a customer, then you do something with your customer, and this customer eventually will purchase your article, will purchase your product or service, and so forth. But this funnel is not linear, and it doesn't live in just one platform. You cannot say, I will just do Google Ads and all my funnel is here, or my Facebook ads and so forth. You can do that, but it's not the most efficient way, because your customer can, for example, see a Facebook ad or Instagram ad, then search for the product on Google, then go to TikTok, and even you might not have an ad there, but some organic content, and all of this sort of messy thing can contribute to the purchase, to the final acquisition of the customer or the sale of the product. This is extremely important to understand. Don't think of everything as a single and sort of isolated platform. Everything has to work together. You should leverage everything you can, like YouTube videos, offline stuff, emailing, and so forth. We will see that this when we will analyze a typical customer journey. One concept that I always try to stress and I always try to sort of insist on is the email. Email is still the most valuable asset you can get from a customer. If you can't get anything else, if you can't get the customer to acquire immediately, the email is the best way to stay in touch with this customer. Once you acquire an email, you basically acquire a direct channel to the customer. You have other ways to get in touch with these customers, and these are the tracking pixels from Meta, for example, or Google. This pixel will record in a anonymized way your customer, but the customer stays in Meta's property, in Google's property. You don't have access to the customer like when you have an email address. You can literally write, hey, Amir, buy my product, or is a promotion, and so forth. So one of the most important concepts with performance marketing is get the email of the customer in any way. Not, of course, in nasty ways or anything else, but try to get the email of the customer, because you will save a lot of money. You don't need tons of remarketing ads or other ways to get back to the customer, but again, you have a direct channel. This is extremely important. Let's quickly look at here, actually. Let's dive into a acquisition funnel, acquisition sequence, let's call it as you like. What I'm showing you here is a potential way to get from somebody that doesn't know you at all to somebody that becomes your customer and buys your product and whatever. So you see here on the left, we start, for example, with some Facebook ads. Again, I'm using Facebook here. It could be Google Display, it could be Google Search. This type of diagrams, we can have millions of them, and hopefully you will follow me, and I will share them in my newsletter. I will share them in some new webinars, so we will have the chance to discuss more and more in advance and more detailed of this stuff. But let's use this as an example. So I have my Facebook, top of the funnel, so TOF, top of the funnel. It means cold traffic, people don't know me. They click on the ad. Of course, the ads have to be good and clickable. But again, topic for some other lesson. Then they arrive at the landing page. The landing page is where we sort of welcome our customers, and of course has to be good, has to be optimized for conversions, has to be fast loading and so forth. But what we can obtain here, again, I insist again on this, the email of the customer. And when we have the email of the customer, we can start some email sequence where we send, 5 emails in an automated fashion, or we can have an alternative funnel. I forgot her here. We can have alternative funnels where we try to promote some other product or any other sort of alternative journey for the customer. But we have the email of the customer, fantastic. Then we start the proper sort of Facebook funnel where we have an offer page or a product page where we can try to convert immediately the customer, but not just we can already work here. We can try to push products with higher margin, or for example, create bundles of products. So we try to maximize the average order value, the AOV, from every single customer that we acquire. This is also quite important. Then we have these 3 events that are the 3 main events when we do e-commerce, but again, it's not just e-commerce when it comes to e-commerce stores, but also if you have a book or if you have a service and so forth. So the add to cart, basically the customer puts the product in the cart, then the checkout, customer is ready to pay, is paying, and then you have the purchase. All these events are super important because if you have all your tracking pixels in place, you can ask Meta to retarget them. Actually, Meta is already doing this in an automatic fashion now with the new type of campaigns that we will briefly see later. But if you track these events, you will be able to retarget users that interacted with your product, meaning added to the cart or even reach the checkout, and you will be able to be a step closer to that. You can offer them some kind of offer, some kind of discount. You can offer different type of ads and different type of content and offers. But it doesn't end here. When the customer is past the purchase, so yeah, we got the customer and they actually bought something from us. Then you still have, this is kind of a dark pattern. I'm sure you saw, for example, EasyJet or some airlines, they're always putting some, before the final step, they're always putting some other pages where they try to sell you some hotel, some booking of some car or some hotel and so forth. This is called kind of dark patterns that I don't like very much, but you can use them in a smart way. You can always try to have some irresistible last minute offer before the thank you page. You can do this before the purchase, after the purchase. And here you see, again, the email of the customer. I'm mentioning this already, this again, because even when the customer has bought from you, depending, of course, on the nature of the product, but this email will be your connection with them. So you can sell new products, new offers, you can send new content and so forth. So create what is called an ambassador. Instead of just a client, they become ambassador. This means that when they're ambassadors, they will talk about you. They will talk to friends about you. They will talk to family about you. And you get new clients for free. So that's extremely, extremely important, because customers are customers until they become something even more valuable for you, ambassadors. So they can talk, they can literally slash your acquisition cost, because this will be, every acquisition coming from an ambassador will be basically for free. Let's quickly check this other sort of strategy funnel. So in the very beginning of the webinar, we were talking about getting a snapshot of the business. This means you always need to be aware of what your business, how your business is doing, and what are your KPIs, what are your numbers, what are your revenues, your costs, and so forth. This is not just for performance marketing per se, but of course for you. You cannot have a business and not be super aware of what is happening in the business. Once you know about your numbers, you have the chance to say, okay, I want to improve something, decrease some cost, and so forth. We already mentioned this. And when you do so, you can create a list of 50, 60, 35 activities. Once you find these activities, my suggestion is to go after the low-hanging fruits, so the easiest and the ones that you can sort of wrap up in a short amount of time. This will give you not just gratification because you accomplished something, but will give you data already end to end, so from the beginning to the end of the operation. So you will get more knowledge about your business, and of course you will get more sales or more customers already, and so forth. I will discuss about these low-hanging fruits in another lesson, probably in a video I will record for my YouTube channel. Let's go back to our graph, and of course we have the start thing, and here comes the sort of post-click experience. That's incredibly important, because you can create very, very good ads, and these ads can attract a lot of people. But then the landing page has to convert, has to be flawless. Your cart, your checkout, even how you provide knowledge about your product, images, videos, everything has to work in an incredible way to make sure there's no friction for your customers if they come from an ad to the landing page and then they buy something from you. And you can do that measuring everything. You can measure this just with data. You can use Google Analytics, GA4. You can use tools like Postog or Clarity from Microsoft and so forth. And you need to check the journeys. You need to check how each and every channel is working. And you need also to check if platforms are not lying to you, because Facebook might attribute to themselves more conversions than what actually brought. So it's important also to always have some kind of agnostic source of information that is an analytics software, rather than just trusting Facebook or Google when they say, oh, I brought you this conversion with this ad, because sometimes they lie to you. This is, sorry to break the news, but this is something that will happen. And to evaluate, so you can create your funnels where you see how users are flowing through the steps towards the conversion. You can check the channels, so you can check if how the organic search is working, how the various paid channels. It's important also we always track our ads, every activity that we do, so we are able to identify what did what. We can use UTMs and other techniques that we won't discuss here. Once we have all the measurement and all the data, we need to evaluate what actually worked and what didn't, what can be improved, and so forth. This is called lift. So it's a bit of a more complex process, but it's basically isolating a channel and saying what will happen to my business if I remove this channel, or what will have happened if I, if I kind of skip this activity in the past, and rather than doing it. It's kind of a scientific thing to do, and again, we are not discussing this here, but you can do it in a simple way already. And you can see, of course, the impact of a single channel through UTMs and through tracking into your revenues. So if you start a campaign and you see an increase of purchases on a campaign on Facebook, you for sure know that this is doing something for you. One note here, it's important to note that even if you're doing Facebook for a year, let's say, then you stop it and you don't see any difference, this doesn't mean that Facebook was not working for you or was not a good channel. What happened probably is that Facebook was driving a lot of traffic to you, and now this traffic is still paying you back. So the top of the funnel was filled by Facebook. The middle is now full of sort of potential clients, good leads, and they're still converting, or they are now ambassadors, or they're now acquired customers. So again, the lifetime value and so forth. Facebook contributed to this, but sort of closing this valve, closing this source in a very short amount of time, maybe one will go unnoticed. But you will see in a longer, in most cases, if you sort of close the top of the funnel source, then you will see less and less traffic coming, and you will sort of retarget users that are already ambassadors and won't buy any products from you, or won't bring you any other clients. This is again for some other time. And eventually, your goal here is to iterate, fix things, test new things. So you will always test new ads, you will always test new sources of traffic, and you will iterate here. So measure, evaluate what works, create new stuff, and again, measure how this new stuff kind of contributed, or maybe contributed to a degradation of performance instead of an uplift or of an improvement. Some questions here. The first one, is performance marketing just Google Ads and Facebook ads? No. There's Pinterest, there's LinkedIn, there's Reddit, and there's X.com. There are lots of platforms. Most of them are actually not very good because they don't provide very good results. I never had very good results with Reddit, or I see X.com not really performing for most brands. LinkedIn can be a very, very good one, but it's expensive and doesn't work for everything. So the most famous and the most rewarding ones are still Google, with Search Network and Display, and YouTube and Performance Max and whatever, and the Meta Universe with Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, and Messenger. Second question, how to use the customer even without a sale. We discussed this already. You can, first of all, obtain the email address, and then you can retarget for any action they do, not just an add to cart or a checkout, but even if they watch a certain percentage of video, even if they visit a certain page, a certain piece of content, you can retarget users that do a certain action on your landing page, on your website. Third question, under what conditions will Meta ads be better than Google ads? Well, this is a big one. The first answer is they can work together. They don't like very much each other, but they can contribute in the acquisition of the customer, in the conversion of the customer. In general, it's different nature. So Meta ads are something you see on a feed or reels or stories. So you need to be very focused on the creative. They need to stop the scroll, like all the marketers say, but they can be very good at showing immediately something that can be visual, or can be a story, or can be a video, can be user-generated content, and so forth. The Google is a bit more proactive, so customers have to search for something on the web, on the search engine, and especially for Google search, of course, not Google Display, and they are looking for that thing, and it's an art to have the right keywords to intercept the real intention, the real goal of the customer. For some other video, we will look into it. Actually, on my YouTube channel, we have already some videos. I'll give you some links. Finally, fourth question, is there a way to check what competitors are doing? Yes. There are more advanced ways, but the very basic way are the ad library from Meta. Google has an ad library as well. We are lucky because the platforms have this kind of transparency rules, transparency obligations, so they need to show who is promoting something, who is making an ad. Especially in EU, you can get a lot of information about an ad on the ad transparency tool or the ad library tool. And you can use this information, of course, to see what competitors are using in terms of creatives, what kind of ads they are promoting. You can even see for how long ads are online. So you can sort of infer what's working, what is not, what worked in the past for all of them. And if you use the API of the ad library, you can get all the information into some kind of system. We won't discuss this now, but you can do that. And for Google search, you have the auction insights that give you some information about who is competing around your same bid. So it's not like fully transparent, but you can use it in a very advanced way as well and get a lot of information. So it's time to wrap up. I have a newsletter. It's theadstudio.com. If you agree, I will just use your email address and we'll send you a message through that. I hope you will stay with me in my journey and read my newsletter. I will send you probably something every 10 days or 15 days. So it's not one of these newsletters that will kill you. It's not sponsored. It's I won't try to sell you anything in these newsletters. I have a website where you can find actually one book I wrote about Google Ads that is being updated right now, and you can book also consultations with me. I have packages or I have a single consultation. Again, sorry, I'm not trying to sell you something here. I actually am, but my takeaway message is don't outsource immediately your paid marketing effort. If you want to do performance marketing, learn it yourself, waste a bit of money, yes. And instead of just going for tutorials and books that might not be updated or asking around, try to find a coach. It could be me, it could be someone else that can literally explain to you what and how things are working and what you should do something instead of just reading something or Reddit or some forum and just applying that very thing blindly without knowing what you're doing. So you are the driver, I would say, and you know your business better. So you have to learn things, apply things, and again, the business part should go with the marketing part together. It cannot be like detached. I have also a YouTube channel, I mentioned already, where I try to publish all the videos I make and try to be, I'll try to be a bit more technical in the future videos. So if you are a bit more into technical stuff, you will for sure enjoy. So thank you very much for joining the webinar. I hope to see you soon in some other webinar or as a follower in the newsletter, in the YouTube channel. And again, I will send you an email with all my contacts. So if you want to stay in touch, if you have other questions, just let me know. Thank you very much and ciao.